Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lady Peace. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to cut and sew a simple dress, okay? A simple dress in just 30 minutes. If you're interested in content like this, please do well to hit on the subscribe button, like, share this video, and lastly, please drop a comment for me. Now, for my old subscribers, thank you so much for always coming around to engage on my videos. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for all your efforts. Thank you, and let's get into today's video. So guys, to make this dress you need at least 3 yards of fabric. What I have here is 2 yards of crepe. So if you're on a bigger size, I will advise you use 3 or 2.5 yards. So I also have my materials here. I have my tailor's chalk, my tape, and also I have my ruler. So let's go ahead and then cut out this fabric. I've gone ahead to cut out this particular one, and this part here is the center and this here is the side. Okay, so we are going to first start with the front part by cutting the front pieces first. So you're going to place your tape from the shoulder line and you're going to mark your bust point. At this point, this white chalk wasn't visible, so I decided to switch the chalk and use the yellow one. So shoulder to bust point for me is 11 inches, and the next thing is to mark your under bust, although it's not necessary, but I just decided to mark it. And the next thing is to mark your waistline, shoulder to waistline. And once you're through with that, you're going to mark shoulder to your hip line. Okay, so shoulder to the hip line, I'm going to go ahead and also mark it here. And once I'm through with this, I'm going to connect all these lines to a straight line. So the length I'm working with is 60 inches and the fabric here is exactly 60 inches. So I'll be using the full length for this. So now that I'm done with that, the next thing is to take our neckline. And to take our neckline, you're going to come over to the top area here. You're going to come down by about 4 inches. So I came down by 4 inches for our neck depth, and for the neck width I'm using 4 inches as well. And once I'm through, I'll just use my hand and then connect a round circle just like this. Once you're done connecting this, the next thing to do is to take half of your shoulder measurement. So mine is actually 15 and half of that is 7.5. And from that point, you're going to come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope and connect it back to your neck width just like this. Now that we are through with that, the next thing is to take our chest line. And to get that, you need to divide your round bust by 6 and add 1.5 to it. Whatever that gives you becomes your chest line. For me, I like going up from my bust point by 2 inches, and I will just connect a straight line just like this. Once I'm done connecting that line, I'll connect from here back to the chest line. So right now it's time to get our armhole, and to do that I'm going to come to this very line and divide what I have here by 2. So I had 8 inches and half of that is 4 inches, and from that point I'm going to go in by ½ inch, and on the chest line I'm going to mark my round bust divided by 4, which is 10 inches here. And once you're done marking your round bust, go ahead and connect all those 3 points to give you your armhole. If you don't know how to do this with your free hand, I will advise you use your curved rule and connect a curve. So I'll just use my free hand and connect it just like so. Once you're done connecting it, the next thing to do is to come to our chest line here. So remember we marked our round bust divided by 4 on the chest line. I also went ahead to add 1 inch for stitching allowance and 1.5 inch for stitching allowance and 1 inch for ease. And on the waistline I marked my round waist divided by 4. I marked 1 inch for ease, and I also added 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. Now come to your hip line. You're going to mark your round hip divided by 4 on the hip line. You're going to add your 1 inch for ease and also add your 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. Once you're through with that, go ahead and connect all the last points. So I'll connect from the chest line down to the waistline, just like so, and from the waistline I'll connect it back to the hip line. So I'll connect it this way, and then from the hip line I'm going to connect it down to the hemline, like the full length of the dress. Just in case you are not seeing this clearly, please, I'm so sorry for this, because I don't know if this chalk is very visible. So from this hip line I'm going to connect it straight down to the end of this dress. I want it to be like very free at the end, so I'll just connect it down to the end of this dress, and once I'm through with that, I'll just go ahead and cut this out. Now after cutting this out, I'm going to go ahead and place another fabric and then cut out our back pieces. Okay, I'm done cutting this out, and this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to keep this aside, and then let's cut out the back. So remember, for the back you still need to fold your fabric into two. So let's go ahead and then keep this aside, but before then I just want to use my pins to just hold down some areas, because this is crepe fabric and it's kind of shaking, I don't know. So this is another fabric I have placed here, and it's folded into two. I went ahead to mark my zipper allowance, which is 1.5 inches, because the back is going to be having a zipper. So I added allowance of 1.5, and I'm going to bring the front pieces, and I will make sure that I place it exactly on where this line stops, like where we have that zipper allowance line. Just make sure that your fabric is on top of that line, exactly on that line. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to use my pins to just pin this down, so that by the time we are cutting this, it doesn't move out from the line. Just be careful with what you are doing here. Okay, so I'll just make sure to arrange everything properly, use my pins, and then hold them down in place, so that when we are cutting this out, everything stays perfectly. So guys, after pinning this down, the next thing is to take our back neckline. So for the back neckline, I'm going to come down by 1.5. So I'll just make a point from where this front neckline started from, like the shoulder area. I'll make a point here, and from this zipper allowance line, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch for our back neckline, and I'll make it both, like connect it outside the zipper allowance line, and I'll connect a curve this way to meet it, just like this. Now the only difference between the front and the back is the neckline and the zipper allowance line. So after this, every other thing is the same, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out every other thing just like this. This is it here. Now, to prevent our zipper from having any bulginess at the top, I came in from the zipper allowance line by ½ inch, and I'm going to connect it from that point to the top of where my neckline is, and I will connect it down to this other area here. Just in case you don't understand, please watch what I'm doing with my hands. This is to prevent your zip from having any bulginess at the back, like any gaping at the back. I just hope you understand what I'm doing here. So I'll connect it back to this point, and after then I'm going to use my scissors to just cut it out. Next, I'm going to cut out facing for the fabric, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove all these pins here so that I can open this up and show you guys what it looks like. So this is it here. These are the two back pieces and one for the front side. Okay, so I'm just going ahead to remove the pins so that I can show you guys how it looks like by the time you are done, what you will have. So this is the two back pieces here. This is how it looks. So this is it here. I'm going to cut out facing for it, and I'm also going to cut out facing for the front pieces as well. So let me go ahead and open this up too and show you guys what it looks like. So I'll just remove all these pins here. I'll just remove them, and this is how the front looks like. So let's go ahead and cut out facing for 3 of them. If you don't know how to cut out facing for your fabrics, please let me know in the comment section so that in my next video I'm going to film a video on how I cut mine. Okay, so this is it here for the front pattern, for the front pieces. Sorry, I'm just going to place them right side facing each other, and I will use my needles to just hold them down before taking this over to my sewing machine to stitch it down with 1/2 inch. And I'm also going to repeat same thing for the two back pieces. I've stitched them down, and this is what I have here. So right now I'm going to use my scissors to trim off the excess fabric I have there so that when I turn this it will relax perfectly. And once I'm through, I'm also going to go ahead and notch it. So I'll make sure to do same thing for the two back pieces, take them to my iron and iron them back perfectly. So just make sure you trim off a little from this area here and then notch it so that when you turn it over it will relax perfectly. So guys, for the front, this is how it looks here. This is it here. So when you turn it over to the wrong side, this is how it should be. So we are going to do same thing now for the two back pieces and then go ahead and iron them. I'm done, and this is what I have here. So I'll just open it up so that you see this is it here. And I also went ahead to do same thing for the two back pieces. Make sure you always iron your fabric whenever you are stitching them. So this is how the back looks. This is it here for the two back pieces. This is how they look. So it's time to close up our shoulders. So I'm going to place them right side facing each other so that we can close up this shoulders area here. So go ahead and place your fabric right sides facing each other just like this. So I'll bring the two back pieces, place one of them here, and then place the other one this other side. So you pick the shoulder areas. So you pick the shoulder areas just like this. So where you have that midpoint, like where you stitch them, the shoulders, place them, make sure that they are both equal. Place them on that midpoint and stitch them down with 1/2 inch. Whatever you do, just make sure that the parts on the shoulders area, just make sure that they are equal. And I'm also going to repeat same thing for this other side here. I'll place them equally and then take them over to my sewing machine. So guys, I'm done, and this is how neat this looks like. This is how neat this looks like. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to hit on the subscribe button, and for the back part, this is how it is. So I went ahead to use my hemming gum to just gum those parts because I don't want to stitch them. And for the back pieces as well, I went ahead to just do like a rough stitch here for my zipper allowance. Okay, so I'm going to loosen it up later and fix my zipper to it. So it's time to fix the zipper, and I'm going to be using an invisible zip. So I'll just loosen up that thread and then fix my zipper around that area. So I'm going to measure from the shoulders down to about 20 inches. That's where it's going to stop. So guys, the next thing to do now is to cut our sleeves. Now if you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve, this is an opportunity for you to learn. I also have videos on my channel where you can actually learn that, but for the sake of this tutorial, I decided to film this again. So my paper is on fold, and this part here is a folded part. So I went ahead to draw up a line at the top to serve as our shoulder line. Yeah, let's call that the shoulder line. So from that point, I'm going to come down to about 4.5 inch. Now this is like the biceps line. The biceps line, like the length of your sleeve cap. Some persons prefer using 5 inches, but I use 4.5, sorry. And after then you're going to mark the length of your sleeve. Now because we are working with a short sleeve, I marked 10 inches. If you want something longer, that depends on you. You can actually decide to use 8 inches, 12 inches, 10 inches, whatever the case may be. That totally depends on you. Now from the center part, I came in by 4 inches, and on the biceps line, I'm going to take the measurement around my biceps. Okay, so for me is 7 inches. Now remember, while we were drafting that clothes, I added 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. So I will make sure to repeat same thing on this part. So instead of marking 11 inches, I added 1 inch for ease and I added 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. And then you come to the full length of your sleeve. You're going to measure the measurement around where you want it to stop, and then mark it here. And I'll also add my 1 inch for ease, and I added 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. Now whatever measurement you have, make sure you divide it by 2. You are not to divide it by 4, just divide it by 2. For example, my round sleeve was 14 inches, and that divided by 2 gave me 7. So I marked 7 on the biceps line, and I added 1.5 inches for ease, for stitching allowance, and 1 inch for ease. I just hope you understand. So I placed my tape. From that point I marked 4 inches. Remember, from the top we went in by 4 inches. Place the tape down to my biceps line, and I divided what I have by 2. Make a point there. And on this part, I'm going to use my curved ruler now to connect a point down to that part I marked. Please take note of how I'm placing this my curved rule. Okay, so right now I'll turn it over now to this other side and then connect it back to this other point. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm also going to link a video in the description box that I made here on how to draft a short basic sleeve. You can go check that as well. So this is just how you can draft your basic sleeve, as simple as it is. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So by the time you are done, you have something looking like this. Okay, so I'm now going to transfer this on my fabric. So I'll make sure that my fabric is on fold. So I'll fold my fabric into 2 this way, and I'll place it just like this. So just make sure that your fabric is in a fold just like this, and I'll place it this way. Pin it down and go ahead to trace it out. By the time I'm done, I'm also going to fold this fabric again because we'll be needing 2 for the both sleeves. So I'll fold it again and then cut the second sleeve. So this is what I have here after I was done. When you open it up, you have something looking this way. So I'm going to bring my fabric and then place them right side facing each other. But before then, make sure to notch the center part of your sleeve. So I've gone ahead to fold this into two again, and I'm going to notch the center. So from that point now, you're going to place that directly on where you have where you joined your shoulders actually. So I'm going to cut this part because it wasn't equal, so I'll just trim off a little, making sure that everything is equal. Then I'll now place this my sleeve right sides facing each other. Remember the part we notch, make sure you are placing it directly where you have your joining, like where you joined your shoulders, and I'll stitch them down and repeat same thing for the other side. So I'm also going to notch this part here. I'll notch it and I'll repeat same thing for the other side. This is what I have after I was done. I went ahead to stitch them with 1/2 inch, and this is how it looks here. Hope this video was helpful. Please let me know in the comments section. So this is it here. Now this is the next thing we are going to do now, is to close up the side. Okay, so this is how the two sleeves looks like. And to close up the side, I'm going to turn this back to the wrong side. Okay, so go ahead and then stitch from the sleeves. Remember, we gave 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. Okay, so I decided not to fold this sleeves area because the mouth was already looking very okay, so I was okay with it like that. That's why I didn't fold it. If your fabric is very rough, please go ahead and fold the ends of your sleeve. And then I'm going to now close up the side using 1.5 inch for it. I'll close up this side and I'll do same thing for the other side, and I'll show you guys how this dress looks like after I was done. I also want to have like slits around the side, so I'll measure from here to about 15 inches. That's how long I want the sleeve to be. So I'll mark it here, 15 inches. I'll stitch down and then stop at that 15 inches point, and I'll do same thing for this other side. I just hope you understand. So you stitch from your sleeve area down to where I have that my 15 inches point. I'm also going to measure same thing on this other side. I'll mark it here so I know exactly where to stop when I'm stitching on it. And also for the ends of this fabric, I have decided to cut out these rough edges here. So by the time I'm done, I'll take this over to my iron, use hemming gum to hem the ends of this sleeve and the slit area where I'm going to stop my stitch. I just hope you understand what I'm trying to say. By the end of this video, you understand better. So guys, this is what I have after I was done, and this is how everything looks. Very simple and okay. I think even a pregnant woman can actually wear this because it was very, very free. And for the slit area, this is what I was trying to tell you guys. I use hemming gum to just hem it. You can decide to use your thread on it, but I decided to just use hemming gum. And this is how everything looks. So for the back, this is it here. Remember, we fix our zipper and we're not having any bulginess at the back. This is how perfect everything looks. So thank you for watching this video. Please let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Please make sure you drop a comment for me, like this video, share, and make sure to subscribe.